Thank you and welcome to today. Today we're going to talk about parallel and perpendicular lines. I'm just going to be very open and honest. We do have a test on Friday. There are two things you need to know. I'm telling you now, if I were you, I would write them down. Okay? There are only two things you need to know. This lesson is important. You will be tested on the material. I am teaching the material. However, I am not putting anything from today on the test. So the two things you need to know are parallel lines have the same slope. So that's point number one. Point number two, perpendicular lines have slopes that are negative, or you could say opposite reciprocals of each other. So those are your two main points. Is everyone with me? Yes, it is in the notes. I am going to make reference to it again. Yes, it is highlighted as you look at my notes today, but I wanted to bring that to your attention. So parallel lines have the same slope. Two lines that are parallel, you know they will never meet. Their slopes are the same. Two lines that are perpendicular, their slopes are opposite, or you could say negative reciprocals of each other. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to skip ahead to probably the last page in your notes right now, because that's a great place for me to start this lesson. This is a great place for me to start this lesson. So I know I've handed you guys a test review. The test review will be due on Friday. This is where I want you all to go, to this last page. So if I made a comment and I said this to you, hey guys, lines that are parallel have the same slope, then we should be able to fill this chart in. And when doing a problem and them asking you to write an equation of a line that is parallel to a given line, the first thing I want you to do is to look at the given equation. Identify the slope. So let's pretend that our first line had a slope of 1/2. If we want to write an equation of a line parallel to it, parallel lines have what type of slope, guys? So a slope parallel to a line that has a slope of 1/2 would have a slope of what? A line that is perpendicular to the slope of 1/2, its slope would be what, guys? -2/1. Slope of perpendicular lines are negative or opposite reciprocals. Remember what I had up there. So you flip it and change the sign. Okay, so let's go ahead and give you a tutorial to form the slope of a perpendicular line. Flip it and change the sign. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. So if the slope was 2/3, what would the slope of a line parallel to it be? Raise your hand if you know. Yes, thank you, right here. Parallel. What kind of slope do parallel lines have? Same slope. So what would the slope of a parallel line be? Good. Now you can tell me what the perpendicular slope would be. Good job. Okay, if the slope is -3/4, what's the slope of a parallel line? Right here. Good. And right over here in the front, what's the slope of a line perpendicular to it? 4/3. And if the slope is 2, class, what's the slope of a line parallel to it going to be? Parallel. 2. Perpendicular. Oh, remember you have to flip it. So if it's 2, it's like 2 over 1. Flip it and change the sign. Does anyone have a question? So what were the 2 takeaways from today's lesson? What were the 2 things I told you needed to know? Who could tell me? Riley, go. Parallel lines have the same slope and outstanding. Good job. Question.
So, like, if we have a whole number, like 3 or 4.
Okay, so let's pretend that the slope is 4. The slope of a line parallel to it would be the same. The slope of a line perpendicular to it, this is 4 over 1, so you're going to flip it, right? And change the sign, would be negative 1/4. Does that help?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Okay. All right, here we go. Parallel lines are 2 distinct non-vertical lines, and they're parallel because they have the same slope. So if I said to you, write an equation in slope-intercept form for a line that passes through the point -1, 6, and is parallel to the graph of y equals 2x plus 12. So let me work this problem with you. Y equals 2x plus 12. Is the given line. Are you with me? And we want to write a line or write an equation in y equals mx plus b form for a line parallel to y equals 2x plus 12. And that passes through, what was the point, guys? And passes through -1, 6. So let's gather all of the information that we need. If you were to follow my directions, you will have great success every time. If you choose not to, you're probably going to have some difficulty with today's lesson. So the first thing I do is I find the slope of the given line. What's the slope of the given line, guys? Okay. So this is the given. What's the slope of a line parallel to the given line going to be? Okay. So now I have basically everything I need. I have the slope and I have a point. Are you with me? Pretty simple. It's not that hard. That's the only part of the puzzle that changes from what we've done over the past few days. So find the slope of the given line. If it's in y equals mx plus b form, as this one is, it's easy to identify that the slope is 2. Correct? Yes? Okay. Then look and see what the question is asking. Do they want you to write an equation of a line parallel to it or perpendicular? They wanted parallel. So parallel lines have what kind of slope? Same. So that means if the given line has a slope of 2, that the new line also has a slope of good. And now we plug in our point. X1 is -1, Y1 is 6. And we're going to use the point slope formula. Y minus Y1 equals M times X minus X1. Or Y minus 6 equals 2 times X plus 1. Are y'all with me? Okay. Okay. So this is Y minus 6 equals 2X plus 2. What do I do next? Who knows? Go ahead, John. Right. Minus a -1. X minus a -1 becomes X plus 1. Good. So what do I do next? Yes, thank you. Add 6 to both sides. And what's the equation of a line parallel to it? Okay, so this is the line parallel to it. What was the equation of the given line? Y equals... You don't need to do this. I'm just trying to show you something. Are the slopes the same? Da-da. You're done. Are you with me? Okay. The next type of a problem we're going to look at would be write an equation of a line that's perpendicular to a given line and passes through a given point. So in this particular example, I chose one that was a little bit more detailed. Instead of me giving it to you in y equals mx plus b form, I put it in standard form. Remember, slope-intercept is the easiest form and the most friendly because you can look at it and immediately tell what the slope is. So example number 2 is, and I know it's in your notes, but I want to do it for you, one step at a time. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for a line that passes through -4, 2, and this symbol here means perpendicular. Do you all understand that? And is perpendicular to 2x minus 3y equals 9. So let me give it to you step by step. Step number 1. Rewrite 2x minus 3y equals 9 in y equals mx plus b form. Why do you think I'm doing that? So I can find what's the most important thing. Yes, Penny. I can find the slope. Okay, so I want it in y equals mx plus b form. So here we go. On our journey to rewrite. So I have 2x minus 3y equals 9. I want to solve this equation for y, so I'm going to subtract 2x from each side. Does that make sense? Okay, so now I have negative 3y equals negative 2x plus 9. Are you with me? Yes, what do I do next? You know, raise your hand. Let's go. Thank you. Divide each side by -3. Please remember that a negative divided by a negative is going to give me a positive. So this is going to give me y equals 2/3 x minus 3. So now the slope of the given line is what, class? What's the slope of the line? 2/3. Okay, so the slope of the given line is 2/3. So that means the slope of a line perpendicular to it would be what, class? -3/2. Remember to form the slope of a line, to find the slope of a line perpendicular to a given line. Take the given slope, flip it, and change the sign. Are you with me? Okay, so here we go. Now I have everything I need. I have the slope, and my point was -4, 2. So now I have all of the ingredients. So I'm just going to step right over here, and I'm going to say the slope is -3/2. What's x1, guys? What's y1, guys? Okay, what form am I going to plug it into? Point slope. So now we're going to use point slope, and it will be y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. let me just give you a hint. A lot of times on a multiple choice test, if you were going to do this problem, once you found what the slope of the new line is, okay, if it said parallel, okay, then you're looking for answers that have the same slope. If it says perpendicular, you're looking for a slope that's the negative reciprocal. Sometimes on a multiple choice test, you're done, because as soon as you see that, you don't have to go through the rest of the process. Look at the test and let the test help you. So this becomes y minus 2 equals negative 3 over 2 times x minus a negative 4 becomes x plus 4. Did you have a question? Okay, let's go back. The question was, why do I not use the original slope, which we found was 2/3? It says, write an equation in slope-intercept form for a line that passes through the point negative 4, 2 and is perpendicular. So that you have to find the slope of the original line, which I agree is 2/3. But a line perpendicular to it doesn't have the same slope. Its slope would be the negative reciprocal, which is negative 3 over 2. Does that answer your question? Okay, good. So now we have y minus 2 equals negative 3/2 x minus a negative 3/2 times 4 would be negative 3 times 4 is negative 6. All right, now we need to put it in y equals mx plus b form. So what should I do to each side? Add 2. So we've really only added one step. It's kind of like when you're learning a dance routine, or learning a cheer, or learning a play in basketball. They give you part of it and then you build on it. So basically the only thing I added to today's equation was that parallel lines have the what kind of slope? And perpendicular lines have slopes that are blank blanks of each other. Opposite reciprocals or negative reciprocals. Okay, have a blessed day, everyone.